Okay, welcome to the weekly Call It Both Ways high school basketball podcast. Jeff Linder here, Jeff Johnson there. Happy Thursday. How you doing, JJ?
I'm good. I feel like calling it both ways today, actually. So you've got a game tonight. I've got a game tonight. So I'm sure we'll both hear it
Yeah.
at some point. So let's beat them to the punch and call it both ways.
All right. So, kind of an interesting week for you. First of all, you had a really good story on the Runquist family. You said Tuesday was your first time to Wellman?
I think so. I was trying to I was trying to think about that. I honestly do not remember ever being there for any athletic event, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, whatever. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's a nice school. I didn't realize Wellman. It's only about what 5-6 miles from Kelowna.
Right, and I think most of the kids come from Kelowna.
Yeah,
Kelowna is the bigger town, I think, by quite a bit. But some really nice facilities at Wellman, and you had a doubleheader there. Regina won both the boys and the girls, correct?
correct. The girls' game was really good. It was nip and tuck. It was back and forth late in the third quarter, and Regina kind of went on a little bit of a spurt and took like I don't know, a 5-point lead or so into the fourth quarter, and then just kind of gradually extended it from there. Played a good game. Put some a little bit of full court pressure defense, which seemed to discombobulate Mid Prairie a little bit, and Mid Prairie went on a dry spell. And the Regals are what, third in Class 2A? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. And clipping right along, their only loss is to Mount Vernon. So
okay,
and we'll talk about this a little bit later. I think Regina is absolutely a 2A title contender.
Okay, they got some nice players. I think they put 4 players in double figure scoring.
Yeah, they've got shooters, they've got scorers. Their guard, their backcourt's really, really good.
Yeah, the Miller girl, whose brother, I believe, played Mason about 3-4 years ago or so, was a really good basketball player. So, Regina is a nice team, and I thought Mid Prairie was a nice team as well. A couple of bigger girls in them that they can go to in the middle. And they play one more time, right? Because it's conference.
They'll play later on at Regina, and game that might have some ramifications in the River Valley South title race if Regina hasn't already wrapped it up by then. So,
I'm sorry, Jeff. I just want to say a really nice ceremony in between games to honor Mid Prairie's boys and girls cross country teams.
Yeah, their programs are dynamite, both the boys and the girls, and have been for some time. So yeah, they can run down there in, what is that? Is that Johnson County, Washington County down there?
I think it's Washington, isn't it?
I think so.
Real close. Yeah,
I think
right on that border. So
yeah. So, well, tell me about the Runquists.
Yeah, Paul is Regina's head coach. He's been a head coach for a number of years. Won a state championship at Mount Pleasant in Class 3A, and then moved to Iowa City to kind of be near his parents who lived in Iowa City. And his father, Gordon, is a Hall of Fame coach at Maquoketa Valley. And I think everyone who follows basketball knows Gordon, and he was helping out at Iowa City West at that time. And Paul moved there, got a teaching job, and was kind of a assistant coach / associate head coach / co-head coach for Steve Bergman at Iowa City West for a number of years. And his dad was on the sideline. It was a great thing. And excuse me, Gordon passed away rather unexpectedly in the early fall. And that left, Gordon was a good guy, was a really good guy with a dry sense of humor and a great coach. And everyone misses him. He was very popular, obviously throughout the community and with his players and things. And so Paul is soldiering on here, I guess you could say, at Regina. This season, he's kind of, he's kind of coaching with dad. Dad in his mind, he said, I think about my dad every day. I think about my dad at every game. And what I miss the most is, we'd always talk about our games after, on my drive home from wherever our game was. So it's kind of a sweet, sad type of a situation, I guess. And Paul is, kind of maybe dedicated this season to his dad. And Regina's got a really nice team at 10-1. Probably will end up being ranked next week, or could be anyway, I guess, in Class 2A. And it's good. And Paul just won his 400th game over the last weekend, 400th career game. And, he said after the game, that's talking to my wife. He goes, that's, I'm 600 some games in as a head coach. And then you think about all the games where I was assistant. He goes, that's a heck of a long time away from home. And, I'm sure his dad's passing has kind of made him think more about family, obviously, as, a little bit that way. But Regina's got a good team. Sophomore and young, couple of sophomores are the best players. So Will Litton and Tate Wallace probably are Regina's best players. But they do a lot of good things. They're well coached, as you would expect. And, they've kind of taken control of the River Valley South and should be a threat once the postseason rolls around. So
How old would Paul be? Is he mid 40s? He's not
boy.
that old, is he?
He's probably around close to 50, I would think.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. But he, you remember those teams too. He was on some great teams at Maquoketa Valley with Bruce Wall, who was, I think, our athlete of the year, Gazette athlete of the year one year. And then the Lambert boys, who I just did a story on at Monticello, leading the Monticello program now. They were all kind of on that same team and regularly kind of made it to the state tournament. So a lot of good basketball minds, a lot of good athletes back in those days at Mac Valley. So
how's their boys team doing this year?
They're a little bit over 500. My guess would be right around 7-4, 7-5, something like that. So Eric Connor does a nice job with the boys program, and we all know your friend Scott Monk does such a great job with the girls program.
Yeah, they're still undefeated. So
are they really? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And you've got another story in the works for tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, notebook day for us on the boys and girls side. And talked last night to Cale Reichter at North Fayette Valley. Excuse me. 6'8" senior headed to Upper Iowa. One of two Upper Iowa recruits for next season. The other one's Trey McCowan at Cedar Rapids Kennedy. But Reichter is just set the school record for steals. And keep in mind, again, he's 6'8". He's already got like the scoring record. I think the coach said he's got, when you look at individual and game and season school records, he's got right around 12 school records of some sort. And the most impressive one to me is he has 32 straight double-doubles, a current active streak. And the last time apparently it was early last season in a game against Lansing Key was the last time he didn't have a double-double. So that's pretty impressive. Very impressive. And
has he had any triple doubles with steals or with blocks thrown in? Or
that's a great question. I got to look back at the records here with all that kind of stuff. But he's a tremendous player. He's a very skilled player at 6'8". Was a guard kind of growing up, and then hit a big growth spurt, and had a great football season as well. 50 catches for a program that usually doesn't throw it around very much. I think he said 51 or 52 was the school record for receptions, so he just missed that, and they had a forfeit victory in there, so he might have gotten it had that not happened. But just a really skilled kid. North Fayette Valley was in the sub-state finals last year and got beat by Hudson. So that's kind of a motivating thing. And they are a 2A school playing in primarily 1A conference. So you don't really, I guess, know exactly how good this team is until the postseason comes around. But you got a kid like Cale Reichter around. I mean, they're going to be a handful. So
Yeah. All right. Anything else going on out in the area? You had rankings come out Monday. Anybody take a big jump or take a big dive that way, or everything pretty much status quo from a week ago?
Yeah, 4A, it was exactly the same teams. We just had a little bit of shuffling. There were a couple of newbies in there in some of the other classes. Northland's still not in the 1A rankings, which that I'm not on that committee, so whatever they see is what goes, I guess. But yeah, we'll have to see this week. Northland might get in there this week. We've got a really good, or I've got a really good game tonight out at Lindmar. Number 6 Lions play number 1 Cedar Falls in a rematch. They played real early in the year up at Cedar Falls. The Cedar Falls won by about 20, something like that. But I doubt very seriously if it'll be that spread this time around. So really looking forward to that one. And then tomorrow night, I guess I'll have Prairie at Iowa City West, which is 2 very comparable teams who are just sitting just on the outside, probably of the top 10 in Class 4A. So
yeah,
next couple of days should be good.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be at. I'll have the opposite. It'll be opposite day for me from you because I'll have West and Prairie girls, and obviously Prairie's having a really, really good season with just one loss and goes to Ankeny Centennial. So, and we've talked about Prairie a little bit, but boy, they're really good and extremely well coached with Bruce Dahl, and I just think that's made a big difference with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how has he kind of settled into a bigger environment? And I mean, obviously they weren't really an area school, so you would see him at state tournament and things like that. But, I mean, you've kind of been able to gather why he's had so much success watching him.
Yeah, he's organized. He's defense minded. I just think, for lack of a better term, he's just a good coach, and that's obvious with the success he had at Allison Bristow and AGWSR, and of course at Dyke New Hartford. So yeah, he's got it rolling there, and he's got a starting 5 that's very good. They go 6, maybe 7 deep. There's not a lot of depth after 7, but those 6 or 7 are really, really good.
What else on the girls' side, Jeffrey? Talk a little bit about what you've seen here recently.
You talked about Regina a little bit ago. The girls, they've just got the 1 loss to Mount Vernon, and Mary Rogers is a win away from 100 in her career. This is her 6th year at Regina, and she's just a great coach. And they, like we said, they've got the really good guards and very capable team of a deep run in February and March. My main focus of my notebook is kind of the top to bottom excellence to goodness of the WAMAC East. Mount Vernon, they're head and shoulders above everybody right now, but there's Mount Vernon, and there's a pack of 4 quite good teams in Solon and CPU and West Delaware, and who am I missing? Marion. Can't forget Marion. Those 4 teams are basically locked dead even, and then Independence is a little bit behind those 4. But the thing is that all 6 teams in that division are above 500 overall, including Independence, which is at 7-6. And they're just kind of, for better or for worse, in the wrong place at the wrong time, because if they're in the WAMAC West, they'd probably be the 3rd place team. So that's what I've got. Something. Yeah.
You just don't see that kind of depth in one division like.
No, it's kind of like SEC or Big Ten basketball, 2 or 3 games into the conference season, because everybody beat up on everybody in the non-conference, and then the bottom teams would be 0-3 overall and 10-5, or 0-3 in the Big Ten, 10-5 overall. And, things will catch up, but, even independents, and independents, the 7 wins are the most they've had since, I think, 2016. So they've got a really good freshman, and, I think they're on their way up. But I'll tell you, Mount Vernon is, I've seen them, I think, 3 times now. I saw them against Estherville. I saw them against Regina. Saw them Tuesday night against CPU. And CPU is a very good team, very good defensive team, very well balanced. But Mount Vernon beat them by 27. And I'll tell you, Jamie Smith is the coach at Solon, and he said Mount Vernon's got the best starting 5 he's ever coached against. So,
wow.
Yeah, they've got Chloe Meester, who's going to play volleyball at Louisville. They've got Sydney Huber, who's the daughter of Stacy Freeze Huber, and she's going to go play basketball at Evansville. They've got the Frank twins, who are juniors, and they've got their stepsister, Savannah Wright, who's a freshman. And I'll tell you, she's smooth. She's really good, and she's I'm certain that she's a D1 kid in the making.
Wow. How much feedback have you gotten from your excellent piece on Sunday about
quite a bit? I don't know if you've gotten a chance to kind of dissect it, but we talked a little bit about the declining boys numbers too. And it's there are a lot of factors. Club volleyball certainly is one, but it's not the only one. But I see that Twin Cedars, which came back after a year off last year, they've discontinued their varsity season. So I think that's 7 schools that aren't playing varsity basketball now this year.
Okay. Well, you made me go around and look at some of the smaller schools, I guess, and look at the rosters. And there was one school, and I think it was Diagonal, which would fit because I think that's the smallest public school.
Yeah,
has 6 kids on the roster.
Okay,
but that's all you need.
They said they had 11 on opening day, so maybe some of them are playing JV only, and the other 6 are varsity. I don't know how that works. You would think that all 11, with the way the rules are now, because you can play, I think you can basically play 21 varsity games plus 21 sophomore games. So you can play a lot of basketball if everything's kind of finagled right.
Yeah, exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see how this, and I know you hate using the term, but the Caitlin Clark effect maybe comes into it here later. Because
it's at least 5 years away, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But, we'll see.
So let's play a quick game here. I'm not quite the game show host that KJ is with during the football season, but let's just kind of go through. Give me the 3 teams, not necessarily the 3 best teams in the area, boys basketball, but give me 1, 2, 3, the most likely teams to be playing in a state championship game in March.
Per class, right?
No, or just 3 teams total. So regardless of class, and not the best 3 teams, but the 3 teams most likely to be playing on Friday night in March.
Let's go. Boy, that's kind of tough in a way. I'm going to say I'm going to throw Decorah in there. I might go either Kennedy or Linn-Mar. And I suppose I got to throw North Lynn in there since they've already done it, 7 years in a row? And this is not right now it doesn't appear to be as dominating a team as the previous 7. But I'm going to throw them in there anyway. So there you go.
Okay. All
There's
right.
my 4. How about
All
you?
right. I would say number 3 would be Northland.
Okay.
Still, certainly a 1A contender, even though they've got a loss to Maquoketa Valley. I think they've got a good shot to go deep again. Number 2, I'd probably say Regina.
Okay.
They're ranked in the top 3 in 2A, and I think they could compete with an Eddyville or somebody like that once they get to Des Moines. Number 1, I'd have to say Mount Vernon.
Okay.
I think they're kind of an it team, and if all of their key pieces stay healthy, I think they're absolutely the favorite in 3A. And if I had to put an honorable mention in there, I'd probably say maybe Prairie, maybe Maquoketa in 4A. So
it would be nice to see a Eastern Iowa team kind of break through a little bit, at least one from the Metro, huh? Because it's been a while.
It's been a long while. So I would say there's certainly some possibilities in each class to not only to get there but to be at least playing in the semifinals and maybe get to the championship game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anything hockey wise you want to share?
Well, the Iowa Heartlanders are in second place in their division, so they're having a nice season. They're like 8 or 9 games over 500, and their goal differential is only 5, which means they've scored only 5 more goals than they've given up. So that's a little weird, but they do play a lot of close games, and they've been able to win a lot of close games. So they're playing very well. The Rough Riders went 1-1 last week. It's the vagaries of sports, Jeff. They lost 8-1 at home one night, and then came back and won 1-0 the next night. So interesting how that kind of works in sports and hockey. So hopefully everybody saw the 25th anniversary of the first home game. That was last week.
That was great.
Yeah, it was nice to catch up with some of the guys, a couple of the guys, and see, now that they're 44 years old, I can't call them kids anymore. So, but yeah, that's kind of what's going on with their baseball wise. Colonels, that's my main beat in the summer. Still don't have an official coaching staff announced yet, so that's interesting. But I think the new manager is going to be a guy named Brian Meyer, who was in Low A Fort Myers last year. Brian Dinkelman, who's been in town, I think 8 years in a row, is either a coach or a manager, is going up to Double A. So congratulations to Dink. He's an outstanding guy, and deserves the promotion certainly to Double A. So there's that. How about a little Iowa basketball? There are some fans who have become very verklempt all of a sudden, Jeff. With this,
I think a lot of people have forgotten that it's a program that's been pretty darn good the last 2 years and has lost a lot of good kids from those 2 teams the last year. And people just need to settle down. They're 12-5. They're not 5-12. They're fine. They've lost 3 in a row. Those 3 losses have kind of come different ways. Maryland was just better than them. You can live with that. Illinois lost over there.
They made a great comeback too, though, right?
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't have been 25 down in the first place, but they did. Yeah. They did make a nice run to make it interesting. Illinois over there, that was bad. They were flat. They weren't ready to play. And Indiana, I think Indiana might just be better than them too. They've got some veteran pieces there, and so they got Nebraska now tonight. Nebraska's 4-2 in the Big Ten. Somehow Iowa's a 9.5-point favorite. That's kind of eye-opening to me. But boy, they've got Nebraska tonight. They go to the Pacific Northwest to play Oregon and Washington next week. This thing could go a couple different ways. If they right the ship tonight and can get it at least one of the two in out west, then maybe they got a little bit momentum. But if they lose tonight, the things might be swirling a little bit, because they're right now one of the quote unquote last four in the Charlie Cream's bracketology. And, they're 13th in the Big Ten right now. So they're, Jan said there was, still some runway there, but the runway's getting a little shorter if they don't have a good stretch coming up.
Any idea how many teams from the Big Ten ultimately might get in to the tournament?
Right now, ESPN has 13. That's not going to happen. And, yeah. Yes. Some of these teams have to lose games, and it's just, basketball is a zero-sum deal. And, I maybe 11, maybe 10 or 11 get in. I think 13's a stretch, but we'll see. And Iowa's 2-4 right now. They're 12-5. If they could get to, I would think if they could get to 8-10, and I think they will. I think they'll get in.
What's been their signature win so far, would you say?
Well, I would say probably Iowa State.
Yeah.
But Iowa State hasn't been playing great, but they have won 3 in a row now, including 2 down in Arizona. So maybe they're kind of figuring things out. I don't know. One thing Jan said that maybe they overachieved early, which I found interesting. And, some other teams took a little bit longer to figure it out. Now some other teams are figuring it out. Now Iowa's got to find another gear again. So.
Yeah, I find it ridiculous that anybody that's questioning Jan Jensen's ability.
Yeah.
Come on, settle down. Settle down,
well,
people.
A lot of people wanted Bluter fired 5 years ago from now too. So
there you go.
She figured it out. But they'll be fine.
And
they'll be fine. Even if they're not fine, they'll be fine in a couple of years. When these freshmen or juniors in the incoming class or sophomores, they're going to be really good again.
There you go.
What were you going to say? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. You're good. Iowa State won a game the other night, apparently, in which it did not make a 3-pointer, which ended the NCAA's longest streak.
Yeah, 900. Was it 945 or 954 or something like that?
Something like that. Yep.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think I was kind of hearing a couple sound bites from the press conference, and the girls were like, "Yeah, well, if we're getting layups, we're not going to pass them down. Turn them down." So,
right.
That's a great way to look at it. So
absolutely.
Streak or not.
Yeah.
Win the game. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and they're, like I said, they might be starting to come on here a little bit.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
All right. Well, I think we're good for today. You said you're going to be where again on Friday?
Let's see. Linder tonight for Cedar Falls, and then Iowa City West tomorrow night for Cedar Rapids Prairie. So
okay, and I'll be at Prairie. All right, that sounds good. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining, JJ. Thanks for joining me for Call It Both Ways, and we will see you next week.